first disappearance, Jeremiah Foco. 36-year-old Jeremiah Foco left his apartment and headed for his job as a software engineer at Oracle in Bellevue, Washington on July 22, 2015, only to never be seen or heard from again. Jeremiah grew up in Standish, Michigan, a small town with around 1,400 residents, and graduated from the Standish Sterling Central High School. In his spare time, Jeremiah enjoyed golfing and snowboarding, and Jeremiah's parents still call the small town home. On July 22, 2015, Jeremiah phoned his boss at Oracle, telling him that he was coming into the office to get his laptop repaired, but he never arrived. This was extremely out of character for Jeremiah, with his father, Edward, telling ABC News, "It makes no sense. Something had to have happened." As the hours passed, his boss waited for Jeremiah to arrive, but that moment never came. His boss then contacted Jeremiah's family to let them know what was going on and to ask if they had seen him or had contact with him. His family was shocked to hear that Jeremiah hadn't shown up to work, and they, in turn, contacted the police in Seattle. The Seattle Police Department took Jeremiah's disappearance very seriously from the get-go and began retracing Jeremiah's last known movements. CCTV cameras showed Jeremiah pulling into the parking garage of his apartment complex at 12:07 a.m. on July 22, 2015. This wasn't the only piece of CCTV footage that the Seattle police uncovered. Later that day, a man matching Jeremiah's description is seen walking down the stairs of the International District bus station, the bus station that Jeremiah used to get to work. The man can be seen walking down the stairs carrying a backpack, and friends and family are convinced that the man in the footage is Jeremiah. A close friend of Jeremiah's, Jocelyn Combray, told Q13 Fox News, "It's nice to see him. We know that he was okay as of 7:02 Wednesday. It was comforting to see him walk and see the back of his head." Just as the man approaches the bottom of the stairs and walks toward the tunnel, the footage glitches out. Once the glitch clears, the man is gone, and there are no further sightings of him. The Seattle police have never publicly confirmed whether the man in the footage is indeed Jeremiah Foco. Renee Charchan, Jeremiah's mother, told ABC News, "Every day I think that this can't be real, yet every day I wake up and it's real. He got up, got ready for work, and fell off the planet. I just hope and pray every day that there will be some sign." On August 25, 2015, Jocelyn Combray, who runs the Facebook page Missing Jeremiah Foco, posted, "All known activity, including last phone call, financial activity, employment presence, vehicle use, iCloud use, bus pass use, even a visual by surveillance in the parking lot, ATM and apartment complex, all activity ended by midnight the morning of Wednesday, July 22, 2015. On the day that he disappeared, for whatever reason, Jeremiah did not use his bus pass. Users on Reddit have speculated that the person seen in the bus station is Jeremiah, and speculate that the ticket system was down, and therefore his pass would have not registered any activity. As Jeremiah has been missing for some time, he had not paid his rent, and his family were subsequently served with an eviction notice. In a further post dated January 10, 2016 on the Facebook page, Jocelyn wrote, "As mentioned in the previous updates, a group of his friends came with trucks and waited on the curb for his belongings to be placed outside the Uwajimaya Village apartments to follow normal eviction protocol. We salvaged all of his personal belongings, such as documents, clothes, memorabilia, and some household items, but we weren't able to store larger furniture. Currently, his belongings are stored in the garage of one of his friends' houses. They are slowly going through his belongings to search for clues, but nothing yet. We found the shirt and shorts he was positively ID'd in the apartment surveillance video in his dirty hamper, so we know that he changed since 12:07 a.m., Wednesday, July 22, 2015. We continue to call his cell phone, and the number has now been disconnected." Bizarrely, after Jeremiah's disappearance, his car was found behind his apartment on 6th Avenue South. Now it is unknown whether Jeremiah or another person moved his car out of the parking garage. Since their son's disappearance, Jeremiah's parents have been heavily involved with the Seattle Police Department and flew out to Seattle to help in the search for him. His parents also provided DNA samples to the police department, so the identification of remains would be faster in the event that Jeremiah was found. Around 20 to 25 of Jeremiah's closest friends and family dedicate their time to keeping the investigation alive and undertaking their own investigation. The Seattle Police Department does not suspect that Jeremiah met with foul play. However, they have stated that his case is still active and open. Jeremiah Foco was 36 years old when he was last seen on July 22, 2015. He is described as a white male with brown hair and brown eyes. Jeremiah sometimes uses the nickname Jay and sports a shaved head. He was last seen wearing a black t-shirt, jeans, and tennis shoes, and also wore glasses for reading. If you have any information about the mysterious disappearance of Jeremiah Foco, you are asked to please contact the Seattle Police Department at 206-625-5011. Gene Johnson. 70-year-old Gene Johnson lived a quiet and peaceful life in Capitan, New Mexico in 2019. 7 years earlier, in 2012, Gene's beloved husband had passed away, and since then, there was a hole in her heart that only one man could ever fill. Gene found it incredibly difficult to move on and wore a pendant filled with his ashes on a necklace close to her heart, as well as wearing her wedding ring. By all accounts, Gene was a loving grandmother, mother, and wife, and devoted her time to playing with her grandchildren and talking to her friends in town. She also enjoyed gardening and taking life at a slow pace. So when Gene mysteriously vanished into thin air and failed to make contact with her daughter Heidi, her family knew something was very wrong. On Sunday, May 26, 2019, Gene was dog sitting for a friend who was out of town, and at some point during the day, Gene snapped a selfie of her and the dog and sent it to her daughter Heidi. Heidi told Dateline, "She sent me a picture of her and the dog relaxing. My mother was my best friend. We were very close. We talked at least 3 times a day." This is the last known contact from Gene, and after this, she mysteriously vanished into thin air. On Monday, the 27th of May, 2019, Heidi attempted to call her mother that evening, but got no answer. In an NBC News report, Heidi tells reporter Andrea Cavalier that she was working all day and her 10-year-old son had a friend over that night, so calling her mother slipped her mind until the evening. Then she tried to call her again on Tuesday, the 28th of May, 2019, but again received no answer. Heidi became concerned that her mother wasn't answering her phone, and the next phone call she received turned her world upside down. The friend that Gene had been dog sitting for called Heidi to let her know that Gene had never dropped the dog off on Monday, the 27th of May, 2019 as planned. This phone call confirmed Heidi's suspicions that something was terribly wrong, and she dropped everything to rush over to her mother's house. She told NBC News, "That's when I panicked. I just felt like something was terribly wrong. I had a bad feeling the entire way." As Heidi pulled up outside of her mother's home, located on Towee Road in Capitan, New Mexico, her stomach sank. The gate into the driveway was locked, and Gene's car was also locked and parked on the driveway. Heidi peered into the car and saw her mother's phone and purse in the car, but there was no sign of her mother. The front door was described as being slightly ajar, but nothing in the home appeared to be out of the ordinary. As Heidi stepped inside, she found the dog that her mother had been dog sitting. The dog was fine, save for a few accidents it had around the house. Still, there was no sign of Gene. Heidi checked her mother's home, hoping that she would find her somewhere. As she moved throughout the apartment, she noticed that one thing was missing: a .357 caliber pistol that Gene kept in the house for protection. Heidi told investigators that her mother would only use the gun if she was scared. Initially, investigators feared that Gene had used the gun to take her own life. Heidi called the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office shortly after and reported her mother missing, triggering an investigation. In a strange twist, the gun was turned into the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office 2 months later by an unknown person. The sheriff's office has not released a description of the person who handed in the gun, and they remain unidentified. The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office said in a statement, "We're not ruling anybody in and we're not ruling anybody out because we don't know yet." Jean's 10-acre property has been extensively searched, but no evidence was found. Heidi did tell investigators that her mother was sometimes forgetful, but had no history of wandering off. 70-year-old Jean Johnson was last heard from on Sunday, May 26, 2019, and her last confirmed whereabouts are at her home on Towey Road in Capitan, New Mexico. Jean is described as a white female with gray and brown hair and green eyes. Jean has had a left mastectomy and her right breast is intact, and she also has a previous fracture to one of her big toes and her ears are pierced. We do not know what Jean was wearing on the day of her disappearance, and her general description is listed as 5'6", 130 pounds. Her daughter, Heidi, said that she was possibly wearing a silver wedding band with 3 diamonds and a clear pendant with her husband's ashes inside. If you have any information, you're urged to contact the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office on 800-687-2419, or you can contact Carrizozo Sheriff's Office at 575-648-2342. Abby Flynn, February 2nd, 2020, Super Bowl weekend. A time for celebration, anticipation, and an excuse for friends to get together, drink beer, eat party food, and watch the game together. 59-year-old Abby Flynn of Gloucester, Massachusetts, spent the first half of February 2nd, 2020, preparing to host a Super Bowl party. Abby and her friends were eager to watch the San Francisco 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs in the ultimate NFL showdown. But when her friends arrived at her house around 6 p.m., there was no sign of her. Her friends were incredibly confused as everything was set up and ready for the party. The oven was still warm and Abby's phone was laid out on the table. After searching the house and finding no sign of her, her concerned friends called the Gloucester Police Department to report her missing. Ed Conley, the chief of police, said there were indications that she had been at home, that she had prepared for the party, but she was not there. At the time of the party, Abby's husband was in Houston, Texas, and her children were away at college, leaving just Abby in the home. Now, there are conflicting reports surrounding Abby's final movements. Some articles say that she spoke to her son at 2:40 p.m., while some say 4 p.m., and others say yet 4:30 p.m. While we do not have an accurate time, we do know that at some point in the afternoon, Abby did indeed call her son and told him that she was going for a walk. This fact was confirmed by residents who reported seeing Abby at around 4:30 p.m. that day. After this, Abby has never been seen or heard from again. Abby's family told investigators that she was a keen hiker and loved being outdoors. She was experienced and knew how to traverse the landscape around her, making her disappearance all the more mysterious. The investigation began almost right away, with investigators searching long into the night for Abby. According to news reports, detectives, officers, police dogs, and land, sea, and air patrols were sent out to look for Abby, but sadly, they found nothing. The Gloucester Police Department believes that Abby had an accident or a medical emergency during her walk. However, no remains have ever been found. 59-year-old Abby Flynn, full name Mary Abby Flynn, is described as a white female with brown hair and brown eyes. She is 5'5" to 5'7" inches tall, weighs between 190 and 210 pounds, and has her ears pierced. She was last seen wearing a navy blue LL Bean puffer jacket, a long-sleeve flannel shirt, blue jeans, and LL Bean boots. LL Bean is a well-known outdoor activity and hiking brand. If you have any information about the mysterious disappearance of Abby Flynn, you're asked to please contact the Gloucester Police Department on 978-283-1212. Or you can contact the Massachusetts State Police at 978-745-8908.